So, here's a thing that gave me pause for thought. When we decided that we were going to pack up and leave and throw all our stuff in a container and head away to France to start our new life, a lot of people did actually ask, genuinely asked, how could you do that? I mean, how could you just go? How could you just leave everybody behind? How's that possible? I mean, weren't you worried? I mean, it's kind of a brave thing to do, I suppose, but weren't you weren't you worried about that? I mean, what if it all went wrong? What if you didn't like it when you got there? And how is it possible that you could just leave all your friends and your family behind? Ooh, you scared? What if you don't make new friends? Okay, distinct possibility. And one of the big, what if you ended up on your own? What if you ended up on your own? Well, okay. That's another distinct possibility, I suppose. I mean, a lot of people did ask how we were going to leave our property behind, our wonderful house that we spent so hard to get right, and all the work that we'd done. But hey, that was just a project. But people were concerned about the family and the friends. Not so much family really, because to be honest with you, we'd already left family behind when we came to Canada. We left all the family back in the UK. So, but hey, I mean, we'd made some really nice friends here in Canada. Got some really nice friends in the UK too. I mean, we gave it a lot of thought, Mrs. M and I. We really did. We considered it. We discussed what we were going to leave behind. We thought about it long and hard. Going to a new country, new set of rules, new that's easy for you to say. New language. I mean, we did give it a lot of serious thought. And were we worried? Well, I suppose we both came to the same conclusion very, very quickly. No, we weren't worried. We weren't worried at all. And that is that kind of, it's a bit harsh, I guess, but it's true. And in this video, I'm going to explain why we kind of came to the conclusion very, very quickly that it'd be easy. It would be easy to leave our family and our friends behind. And in fact, not only would it be easy, but it'd actually be a benefit. Stick around. I'll explain to you why I think that. Sid! Sid! Deaf as a post. Sid! Go on. So, I mean, we'd made some really, really nice friends in Canada. We really had some lovely people. People who we consider now to be close friends. And yeah, we're going to miss them. I mean, we actually discussed the possibility of them coming to France with us. Wasn't going to happen, don't suppose. But yeah, we're going to leave these people behind. And we're going to get on a plane. They're not going to be in our lives anymore. I mean, sure, we've got Facebook. And Facebook is really good at keeping those connections, I suppose. But These people aren't going to be next door, are they? They're not going to be around the corner where we can just drop a message and say, come on, give us a hand. Can't do that anymore. To be fair, I probably haven't done that for quite a while anyway. When you spend most of your working life working on your own, you levers and pulleys. Don't get me wrong, it's kind of nice if there's somebody there to give you a hand with a beam, but in the main, you kind of do it on your own. I mean, we did consider, Mrs. M and I, this idea that we were going to leave people behind. Have we made the right choice? Are we doing the right thing? Should we change our mind? I mean, let's face it, good friends are hard to come by. But we weren't really worried about leaving people behind. And when we sat down and discussed actually doing that, were we concerned? Was it a difficult thing for us to do? We both reached the same conclusion very, very quickly. No. Is that harsh? Is that a terrible thing to think that way? Have we now become cold, soulless individuals that just didn't want other people in our lives? Did we not care anymore about other people? Were we happy to cut the bonds, sever the ties, family and friend? Apparently, as you get older, it's quite normal. So, apparently, not only is it normal, but it's beneficial. Beneficial, I hear you cry. Beneficial. How on earth can it be beneficial? How on earth can it be beneficial to break bonds? How's that possible? You see, the way I see it, there are two very different aspects at play here. There is the self, and there is other people. Sid. Let's talk about self. Self. As we get older, we change. I mean, that's a given. We get older, so by definition we change. But our attitude to things change as well. We may not necessarily notice it as it happens, but occasionally we look back and go, yeah, okay, that feels different. So I'm 63. It's not a secret. I don't worry about being 63. I quite like being 63. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not the same as I was 20 years ago, and I mean that's kind of obvious. Every time you look in the mirror you go, well, is that really me now looking back? But not just physically, but our attitude changes to certain things. I know, I'm fairly self-aware. I know that I I'm less tolerant than I used to be. I know that. I don't suffer fools gladly, and I avoid wherever possible now, whereas I don't think I used to. I avoid vampires. I'm not talking about blood-sucking vampires. I'm talking about time-sucking vampires. Let me explain. You see, I am under no illusion that I have got more time behind me than I do in front. And barring some, I don't know, accident or some heinous disease, I reckon 20 years in front of me? I don't know, that would take me to 83. How about 15? 10 years. What happens if I've only got 10 years? I mean, that's not a lot. We've been in Canada 10 years. And sometimes it's like I sometimes feel as though we've only just got here. So 10 years relatively is not a long time. 10 years, sometimes it's like it's over in a heartbeat, 10 years. And if you think about it, if I've got 10 years left, and that's my working capital, those 10 years, that's my most valuable asset. That's the most valuable thing I possess. No, we're not talking about houses, we're not talking about money in the bank, it's time. There is nobody on their deathbed will say, I wish I had more money. People on their deathbed, it's like, I wish I had more time. So let's consider that. That's your working capital. That's the money. That's the asset you've got. Think about it. Are you going to give that away to a time-sucking vampire? Are you gonna squander that? You'd be a bit of a fool to squander that away. Look at it this way: if you had 10 grand, $10,000, £10,000 in the bank, and you wouldn't walk up to a stranger and just give them 1,000, would you? You wouldn't give them £1,000. So why? Well, not for nothing anyway. You might give them £1,000 if you were going to buy a motorbike, but so why would you just hand over time without any return, without anything quantifiable, just for the sake of it? Give away a week, a month, whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to be a physical thing. It doesn't have to be an item. It could be, you could give some time and you get a nice warm fuzzy feeling inside. That's worth it. That's good. That's a return. That's a return on your investment. I mean, how many times have we been caught up in situations where you didn't want to be here? You just didn't want to do this. Why are we doing this? Why have we come here? Why are we amongst these people? Why am I doing this thing? I'm not getting anything out of it. Why am I doing it? That's what I mean by time-sucking vampires. These people that you're with right now, this very minute, that you don't want to be in this situation, they're sucking the life force out of you. How many times have we been to social gatherings and social events and you've found yourself within minutes of arriving looking at your watch thinking, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. You find yourselves talking to some inane rambler, telling you about his 2-week trip to the Okanagan shitting in a bucket. I mean, really? Why? What are you doing this? Why? When you'd much rather be at home. Much rather be at home with a cup of tea, feet in front of the fire, and all you're doing is looking for excuses to leave. watching the door. I have become less tolerant. I have become a grumpy old fart. Or have I? I'd like to think, no, I'm not a grumpy old fart. I'm an old, wise person. I'm an old, wise person. I'm not a grumpy old fart. I've woken up. I've woken up to the idea that I am a wise old man now. I have become a very, very clever investor of my time. That's a novel way of looking at it. That's a neat way of looking at it, I think. I am now no longer going to do anything for anybody if it means I don't get a return. Okay, so we accept that we've changed. We all change. We don't always consider how we've changed, but we have. We do. And that's the self. That's the we. That's the individual. But there is another element to this. Society. Has society changed? Has the collective changed? And I think the honest answer to that is, hell yeah. You gotta believe it. I honestly believe that people in general, and not everybody, but people in general, have become so much more, I guess, unreliable. People in general have become far less considerate. I think people have become far more entitled. I think people have become far more expectant. I think people expect you to go out of your way for other people. That you have a right to do things for other people without return. You know, family. When you are part of a family, you are expected to contribute without any kind of reward, just because you're part of that family. They expect you to do it. I also think that people have become far more stupid. What happened to common sense? Common sense these days just isn't so common. There are more and more people who just let themselves down. They do. People let themselves down. And it's frightening, frankly, just how dumb people have become. I think a lot of people also become infinitely more inconsiderate. A lot of people just don't care. They don't care anymore. They don't care about the feelings of others. They don't care about anybody else. It's just themselves. They aren't empathetic. They don't think about anybody other than themselves. A classic example of this, for anybody that's keeping track of our journey to France, you will know that the house, our property on the market, I've explained in previous videos just how the sales process works here in Canada. The fact that you have two realtors, the seller has a realtor, so the buyer has a realtor, and so basically somebody sees your house, wants to view it, they have their own realtor who will contact our realtor and then book a viewing. And the whole process involves the seller preparing the property for that viewing, and then leaving. You've got to leave the house. You can't be around while that viewing takes place. The seller's realtor will take over. Now we have 2 full-size houses on our property, both ours. We've got 2, and actually preparing this property for a viewing isn't a 5-minute job. I don't know, 3, maybe 4 hours to make sure everything's right and neat and tidy. You vacuum everywhere and making sure that everything is spick and span. Have all the lights on, all the heat on, make it nice. They do the usual thing. I mean, making sure it smells like coffee. Put the coffee machine on, all that kind of stuff. It's just psychological as well as anything else, as well as a physical thing to make the house feel nice as well. The house feels nice. So, a recent viewing, we'd prepared 3, maybe 4 hours preparing for this. 30 minutes prior to that viewing taking place, we were just about to climb in the car. We got a call from our realtor to say that they'd cancelled. The people had cancelled with some lame excuse about, well, they suddenly realised that it's not actually in the part of the world where they wanted to live. I mean, seriously? I mean, there's a number of things that come into play here. I mean, first of all, maybe you should have checked. Secondly, I think just basic consideration. We would have gone ahead and done that viewing anyway. I mean, we wouldn't have booked it because we'd have worked out where we wanted to live beforehand. But we'd have done that visit. We would have done that viewing. We went to France in September. We viewed 11 properties. And in France, the details that are provided are nowhere near as concise as they are in Canada. So a lot of times you turn up to a property and certain features come as a real surprise. And on 2 occasions, a massive turn-off. We knew we weren't going to buy the house the minute we turned up, really, for things that we didn't notice, we didn't know about. And but nevertheless, we went ahead. We did the viewings. We carried on. The agent there had rehearsed his speech. We made all the right noises. We're polite. We took an interest. We looked for the positives. We weren't going to buy it, but we were looking for the positives to make everybody feel nice, I guess. The people that cancelled here gave no thought to us. They didn't want to waste their time. They didn't care whether they wasted hours. I mean, there seems to be more and more examples of this kind of couldn't care less attitude surface wherever you go. I mean, a trip to a supermarket these days is fraught with danger. You know, how many times have you come across situations where, I mean, people can't drive a trolley. Recently, this woman left this trolley down the middle of this aisle. Nobody could pass it. She went off down another aisle because she forgot some soup. And so the fact that you have to move this trolley to navigate around it, she came back and looked at me like I'd just shit on a cucumber. I'd moved a trolley. How dare I move her trolley? I mean, we plan our shopping expeditions to make sure that they coincide with quiet times. The fortunate thing, quite honestly, is that as you get older, you develop a radar for this stuff, I think. Well, I have. We can see it coming down the pipeline. You can see it on the horizon. You know it's coming. You can start planning for this stuff. You can start planning for this crud. You can prepare yourself. And you can prepare yourself for the no. The no. What's the no? Well, no. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to go there. No, I'm not going to, I'm not going to carry out that favour. No. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? No. You see, that's where people think you're a grumpy old man. I happen to think, It's not about being a grumpy old man. It's becoming a wise man. I'm a wise man. I've become a very wise investor of my most valuable asset. I am a wise man who is prepared to say no. That makes me quite powerful, actually, I think. I've taken control of my time. I've said to myself, I am not doing that. No. You see, when you say no, that's quite liberating. The ability to say no without feeling guilty, that's very liberating. If you think about it, we're all on death row here. There's none of us getting out of this alive. We're all on death row. We don't know how long we've got. But as you get older, you've got much less time, as I said, barring incident. I am safeguarding my most valuable asset. I am saying no, I am not going to do that. I mean, of course, you don't say it quite as directly as that. I'm very good at excuses. I'm very good at excuses, and they're immediate. I see things coming down the pipeline. I'm ready to be able to say no, but I'm going to deliver that no in such a way as it's kind of, well, I use Mrs. M. I use Mrs. M a lot. And it usually goes along the lines of, oh, you want me to do that? Oh, you want a favour? Oh, well, I'd love to, but Mrs. M. You want me to go around and help you with that, this, there, then? Well, I would, but Mrs. M. Nobody questions that. Nobody wants to run down that rabbit hole. It's wonderful, isn't it? You can't verify that. What is that? Nobody asks. What exactly does that mean? So we've established that saying no is very liberating. Guilt-free. It doesn't make you the grumpy old sod. Makes you a wise one. We ain't going to be on this planet for much longer. And so the thought of riding off into the sunset, striking out on a new adventure, guilt-free, without worrying about the people that we're leaving behind, that's a good feeling. That's nice feeling. We don't need to worry about that anymore. We don't need to worry about that emotional blackmail that comes with leaving parties. I mean, what is that all about? People feel the need to get together and wish you well, and then they come to you with these inane cards. Oh, we wish you weren't going, we're going to miss you. Nobody wants that emotional blackmail on the way to a new adventure. Nobody wants to open up a suitcase and look at all that rubbish. Mrs. M, and I suppose it's the reason why we came to Canada in the first place, Mrs. M works for an international company who decided that they wanted her here in Canada, so we packed up all our stuff, or they did, and we came to Canada. Now, in her 10 years, we're coming up to 10 years, she has seen so many people who can't hack it, who've left, they've gone back home, because they can't bear to be away from their family and their friends any longer. Their family and their friends, not intentionally, I'm not saying that they were mean, but but their family and their friends have deprived these people from opportunities. Think about that. Their families and their friends have become time vampires. So, a piece of advice from this old fart. This wise old fart. Do it. Turn your back on your family. Turn your back on your friends. Look, at the end of the day, real friends, genuine friends, stay with you. You will never lose those kind of people. They will stay with you. They may well be in a different country. I have friends I have known for 30 years who I still consider to be close friends who just happen to live in a different country. I know that they all will always have my back, and I will always have their back. That's what a close friend is. The rest, and I even include family in this, the rest just, they ain't going to do anything for you. Seriously, they're not. They don't mean it, but they're not going to help you. Turn your back on them. Just let it go. Detach yourself from these people. Sounds harsh. Don't carry guilt. Detach. Because at the end of the day, we're not on this planet for long. But it's never too late to strike out on that new adventure. And as I always say, better to regret the things you've done than regret the things you haven't done. So, friends, followers, if I struck a chord, if any of that resonates, I don't know, give us a like and subscribe. It's just to let me know that there are people out there who are taking an interest. Thanks for that, and we'll see you next time.